Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So today inshallah we are going to start discussing about the chapter polynomial expression in nature and technology. Let's get started with our first topic, that is polynomial expression. What is polynomial expression? But before we get to know what is polynomial expression, we must get ourselves introduced to what is called terms. Okay, term. So in polynomial expression there are several terms. Now what our term consist of? Term consists of a coefficient, okay, and a variable. Mostly the coefficient they are numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4. It can be letter also like ABCD. But the variables they are always letters X, Y, Z, something like that. The value of the variable it can change. Like the variable word comes from the word vary, which can change. So the value of which can change, that is called variable. And if something is constant, the value of which we cannot change, that is called here the coefficient. Okay, so these two are in multiplication in a term. For example, 2 into x, we can write this as 2x with no multiplication sign in between, because whenever there is multiplication, you know that we don't need to put the multiplication sign actually, but whenever it is divided or added or subtracted, we need to put the sign. So when we write 2 next to x, it means 2 into x. Now this is a term because here we have a coefficient which is 2 and we have a variable that is x. Okay, now we can come to the topic of polynomial expression. So polynomial expression is nothing but actually combination of terms, combination of several terms. So um, I can write 2x plus 3y. So this can be a polynomial expression. Okay, how many terms are there? There are two terms, 2x and 3y, right? For example, if I write x square plus 3x plus 5, then this is also a polynomial expression. There are three terms, 1, 2, 3. Now we have to be very careful. Let us say if someone writes it in this way and then asks you how many terms are there, some of you might answer that there are four terms, 1, 2, 3, 4. But remember, whenever there is multiplication sign in between, they are not considered as separate terms. Rather, they are considered as one term. And this is same for division also. Okay. So this can actually be written in this way, x square plus 3x plus 5, right? So that will give us three terms. So remember, in order to separate two terms, there must be positive or negative sign in between. For example, if I have x square plus 3 divided by x plus 5, then how many terms are there? I believe all of you got the correct idea that there are three terms. This is one term. Now division does not actually make them separate as a term. So this is one term, okay, and this is another one. Now some of you might have some confusion. For example, if I write an expression like this, x square plus x plus 3. Now uh, in order to be a polynomial expression, they need to be a combination of terms, right? And in the term, in each term there must be a coefficient and a variable. So whenever there is no coefficient written, like with x square there is no coefficient written, so you might think that okay, this does not qualify to be a term. That is not actually true, because whenever there is no coefficient written, it is automatically considered to be 1, like 1 x square. Here the coefficient is 1, and same goes for this one, the coefficient is 1. And then comes this one, 3. You might say that okay, the coefficient is 3 is there, but where is the variable? As there is no variable, this does not qualify to be a term, but this is also a term. How? Where is the variable? Actually, whenever the variable is not there, we consider that the variable's power is 0. Like for example, here the power of x, that is the variable, has a power or degree of 2, and here the degree is 1. Whenever degree is 1, we don't write it, because if you write x once, then it shows that the power is 1. Okay, And when there is no x, definitely the power is 0 now. Okay, so this is also a term, this is another term, this is another term, and together they are forming polynomial expression. Okay, now polynomial expression can be of several types. If we have only one term, like for example 2 into x, this is 2x, right? Okay, if in a polynomial there is only one term, okay, one term only, then it has a special name called monomial, because mono mean once, and if there is two terms, then it is called 2x plus 3y. Like this one, we have two terms, it is called binomial. Bi means two. Like for example, bicycle, when we drive, there are two wheels, right? That is why it is called bicycle. So binomial, bi means two. And then whenever there are three terms, it also has a special name, it is called trinomial. Okay, when there are three wheels, it is called tricycle, right? So trinomial. And if there are more than three terms, like if the number of terms is greater than three, then we call it polynomial. And to be honest, in general, all of them, like monomial, binomial, trinomial, all of them are called polynomial. Okay, so these are special names. If I say monomial, you understand that this is a polynomial with one term only. Okay, and if I mention that it is binomial, you will understand that it is a polynomial only, but with two terms. So that's how it goes. And if there are more than three terms, then it doesn't have any special name. In general, we call it polynomial. Okay, so before we move on to the next slide, it's one point is very important to mention, that the power in the polynomial, like here we have the power as 2, the power here is 1, and we know that the variable power is 0 here, or we can say then the degree. Okay, this degree or power has to be non-negative integer. Non-negative integer. Now we need to understand the meaning of this one. Non-negative means it cannot be negative. Okay, so if the power, if we have x to the power minus 2 plus 2x, okay, now this one will not qualify to be a polynomial, because here the power or the degree of the variable is negative. The first condition, it has to be non-negative. Non-negative means it can be either 0 or 1, 2, 3 for the positive quantities. Okay, now in positive quantities, what if it is a fraction? Okay, let us say 2 by 3. No, this is also not acceptable, because it has to be a integer. Integer number means 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's so on, it will continue. Any number you can choose from here, they are non-negative integers. Okay, so the degree has to follow this condition, only then the expression will qualify to be a polynomial expression. Now in a polynomial, there can be one variable or more than one variable. So let us discuss about polynomial with one variable first. Polynomial with one variable. So if I write 2x square plus 3x plus 2, then it is called a polynomial with one variable. Now sometimes you might be asked to write the general term, which represents a polynomial, which actually represents a term of the polynomial with one variable. So the general term actually looks like this: cx to the power p. Now here the c represents the coefficient, okay, and x, as usual, you know that it is the variable, and p, it is known as the degree of the term or power of the term. Okay, so each term should be able, we should be able to write in this form. Now the first one is very easy. We can see that here it's already in this form, like a coefficient, variable, then power. Here the coefficient is 2, the variable is x, and the power is 2. Now if I come to this one, you can see that coefficient is there, variable is there, but where is the power? Yes, we little just a little bit ago we discussed that if the power is not there, then we consider it to be 1. Okay, and then let us come to the third one where the variable is absent, right? So when the variable is absent, that is actually called the constant term. Okay, this is called the constant term. So here the variable is there, but we know that the variable has a power of 0. So you can see that all the terms could be written in this general shape, right? So this in general represents a term of a polynomial with one variable. Now you might be asked that what is the degree of the first term? The degree of the first term is 2, okay, and the degree of the second term is 1, and the degree of the last term is 0. Okay, so what is the highest degree we have here? It is 2, right? That is called degree of the polynomial. If I ask you what is the degree of the polynomial, then you will mention only as the highest degree. Okay, so please try to understand these two represents that the degree of the first term. Okay, this is degree of the first term, degree of the second term, degree of the third term. Among them, which one is highest? The highest one is called degree of the whole polynomial. Okay, so this is the degree of the polynomial. Okay, now moving on, we might have polynomial with two variables. Polynomial with two variables. So let me write in general a polynomial with a variable 3x square y plus 2y square plus 3x plus 4. Now you can see that there are two unknown. One variable is x, another one is y. Two unknown, right? Now what is the general term? Definitely the general term is going to be different, right? Here only one variable was there, but now we have got two. So a coefficient will be there as usual, and one variable, two variable, and both of them will have some power on them, right? Some degree. So let us consider that degree of x is p and the degree of y is q. Now all the term we should be able to write in this way. Okay, how we can do that? See, this one can be written 3x square y to the power 1. So you can see that a coefficient which is c, then x to the power something, yes, x to the power 2, then y to the power something, then y to the power 1 we have. Okay, so now let us decide what is the degree of this term. Now here deciding about the degree of the term, it was easy because there was only one variable, but we have the presence of two variable here now. So the degree will be, or the degree of this first term will be the summation of them. So 2 plus 1, the degree will be 3. Now if I write it in this way, you can say that okay, one variable is missing. So what to do about that? Yes, the variable which is missing, we will put the degree of that as 0 and then y square. Okay, so you can see we wrote it in this shape, right? So what is the degree of this term? The degree of this term is 2, 0 plus 2. And then what we have, I better mention with arrow, so 3 x to the power 1, as y is absent, so y to the power 0. So here the degree is 1 plus 0, 1, and 4. This one can be written as 4 into x to the power 0, y to the power 0. So as there is no variable with this one, you can easily understand that this is the constant term, right? Constant term. And the degree of this term will be 0 plus 0 is 0, correct? Okay, now the question, what is the degree of the polynomial? So the highest one, remember this 3 is degree for the first term only. Okay, term wise these are degree, but if I ask you what is the degree of this polynomial whole, then you will say only the highest one. So the degree of polynomial will be, polynomial will be 3. Okay, I hope it is clear. Then the last one we have degree, sorry, polynomial with three variables. Okay, there can be more, but in this level we need to know only up to this much, up to three variable. So polynomial three variables. Okay, so you can easily, I think you can write on your own, x cube plus y square z plus xyz, then x square y square plus maybe 3, something like you can write on your own. Okay, anything. Okay, it can be a polynomial with three variable. Now if I want to write the general term for this one, we know that there is a coefficient, and then we have the three variables, that is x y z, and each of them will have some degree, so you consider them to be eq1. So if I want to know the degree of the polynomial, I hope you by now that know how to find out the degree of the term. Okay, okay, let us write about degree of the term. So if we have a term like this, what will be the degree? That is the summation of all the degrees, or the power p plus q plus r. Okay, so for this one, we can imagine it to be in this way, that the coefficient is 1 and the power is for x is cube, then y is 0, and z it will be 0. Okay, so 3 plus 0 plus 0, the uh, let me use different color. Yeah, for this one the degree is 3. So for this one you can see 2 plus 1, it is also 3, 1 plus 1 plus 1 3, then 2 plus 2 4, and here as there is no coefficient the degree is 0. So which one is the highest one? This one. So the degree of the polynomial, if I ask you now, degree of polynomial, let me write in short. Okay, so that will be 4 only. So I hope it is clear, the idea of polynomial expression and the polynomial with 1, 2, and 3 variable. Okay, now for a particular polynomial there are some quantities that they might ask you to find out. For example, if I write 2x to the power 6 minus 3x to the power 5 minus x to the power 4 plus 2x minus 5. Okay, so this is a polynomial with one variable. From here they might ask you to find out that number of terms. So how many terms are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, to be considered as different terms or separate terms, there must be a positive or negative sign in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Total 5 terms are there. Okay. Then next, they might ask you which one is the leading term. Leading, or in your book it is mentioned, it is mentioned as prime term. Okay, prime term or leading term, they both mean the same thing. So the highest, the term with the highest degree. So you can see that here the degree is 6, 5, 4, 1, and 0. So this term has the highest degree. So this is the leading term. Okay, and then they might ask you which one is the leading coefficient or prime coefficient. Prime coefficient. So the coefficient of the leading term. First we need to identify the leading term, and in the leading term what is the coefficient? That is the leading coefficient or prime coefficient. Okay, and then if they ask you, they might ask you which one is the constant term here. Constant term is easy to find out because the term with no variable with it. Okay, that is the constant term. So here it is minus 5. Now you have to be careful because you need to consider the sign also. If you write the constant term is 5, then the answer will be wrong. You must consider the sign too. Okay, so I hope it is clear, the topic of polynomial expression and the terminologies that are related to it. If you have any confusion, then kindly let me know through the comment section. Okay, assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.